Hey everyone, I am here with Carl Medford. Hey Carl, how are you?
Great, thank you.
Great. Now, Carl is with Keller Williams out of Fremont, California, and he's been in real estate for ever.
Yes.
Over 20 years, I guess.
Yep.
But you're also a regular contributor to Inman, which if a lot of people don't get Inman, I want to do a little plug for them. It's a great resource for real estate agents. Lots of great articles written by people like yourself, and really helps you with perspective on different topics. Do you agree?
Totally agree.
Yeah,
Yes.
I love
Yeah.
it.
Mhm.
So actually, I learned an interesting fact about you that I think is funny, that you're a really good writer. I mean, I've read a couple of your articles. You're a very good writer, but you told me a little fun fact about yourself.
Uh-oh.
The only class you failed in college was journalism.
Well, there you go. Right. Yep. Pretty funny.
That is funny. But the one that we want to talk about today was how to combat 5 common lies that listing agents tell in the presentation and how to win that listing. So, can you give us a little backstory of why you wrote this article?
Yeah. Show up at listing appointments all the time, and just run into the same bogus lies all the time. And the
Hmm.
unfortunate part is consumers don't know the difference.
Right.
And so a lot of times, after you lose a few listing presentations to agents that are clearly lying,
Hmm.
it's a little frustrating.
Yeah, no
So
kidding.
yeah, so when I put the article down, wrote it, pretty good response. I mean, a lot of
Yeah.
agents chimed in and said, "Yeah, yeah,
It
that
already has like 72 shares just on Inman. That doesn't even count like, the
yeah,
people that downloaded it and shared it.
yeah." What's interesting for me with these articles is I will take a little snippet out of the article and then just Google that snippet in parentheses, just out of curiosity to see where it actually shows up.
Nice.
And this one's all over the place.
Yeah,
So
this is a good one. And I think during our conversation, I mean, let's just talk about like there's a couple that I want to talk about. And I think the value that you added here in the article, in the value we'll talk about, even though we all know that the agents lie about this, but what do we say to the sellers? And I like how you provided some language about that. So I'd like to kind of, okay, so the first one I want to talk about, um, is that the lie of I can get you a higher price than anyone else for the house.
right. Yeah, which really plays into a seller's psyche. And unfortunately, as anybody been in the business for a long time, we know that's just a lie.
It's a
Uh,
total lie.
yeah.
Well, not all agents, though, are created
Well,
equal in their
that's
negotiation
very true.
skills.
Yeah. So what we tell our agents is what kind of offer you get depends on the state of the market that day.
Yeah.
Uh, a great example would be the market here has been blazing hot, but in the last 3 days, it seems to have taken a pause.
Hmm.
So, will that continue? We don't know. And there's just so many unknowns here. It depends on what buyers are out in the market at that particular point in time.
Right.
There's just no way to guarantee any kind of a price. And it's the buyers that are setting the price anyway.
Right. It's your neighbors. That's what I always tell them. Like,
Mhm.
they're going to look, even if the buyer and you agree to a much higher price, if it's contingent on financing, the appraiser has to agree.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
Too
And
many.
that is based on what your neighbors sold their homes for. Like, we don't make it up.
No, no. Well, some agents do.
Oh my gosh,
But,
I do a lot of cold calling, and I was calling on this house in a neighborhood I really wanted to get in, and I saw it had come off the market, and I was like, that's weird. These houses never come off the market, and it's because it was $100,000 higher than it should have been. And I know you're in California, so like $100,000 is like your grocery bill, but I'm in Ohio,
right.
like $100,000 is a lot.
Yeah.
So I'm like, this is crazy. Why? So I talked to the guy and he's like, well, the agent said that they could get that. I was like, did they? Like,
Yeah.
no. You
Right.
know what
No.
I mean?
Yeah. It's called buying a listing.
Yep.
Yeah. And it's very unethical.
It is unethical.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think agents also buy the listing by reducing the commission that they would normally charge also.
Yes. Yeah.
That's very annoying.
Yes, it is.
Yes, it is. And yeah, anyway. The other way that we come across a lot, or that I come across a lot, is the other agent said that they have buyers for the home.
Hmm.
So how do you handle that?
Well, do you want to go with an agent with a buyer that's in the agent's pocket, or do you want to put it on the market and get the full exposure of the market? I mean, we
Mhm.
tell our sellers, that's not in your best interest. There's two problems with that. First of
Right.
all, there's no guarantee. The competitive multiple viewing, multiple offer
Mhm.
scenario is the way to get the highest and best price and terms. And then
Mhm.
you also don't want to get in dual agency. If the buyer's bringing in, or a listing agent, or yeah, the agent's bringing in the buyer, that's dual agency, and then
Right.
it's actually outlawed in a lot of states across country. So we can do dual agency here, but we certainly don't focus on it.
Right. Well, and I'm always thinking like, if the depending on the market, this one's a little bit different, but usually it's like, okay, if that buyer hasn't found something in this market,
Hmm.
do you all of our buyers have found something because they're motivated and ready to buy. So
Right.
if we have buyers that haven't found something, it's typically because they're either unmotivated or they're not ready. Is that the type of buyer that you want?
Right.
You know what
Exactly.
I mean? Like such a lie. But why would they lie about that?
Well, because it sounds good.
Yeah.
A seller wants to know that there's somebody out there that wants to buy their house. And so if
Hmm.
somebody comes in and says, hey, I got people lining up to buy your house, sign here, why not? You
Yeah.
know, and it's the problem with all of the lies that agents tell is that there's a grain of truth in there somewhere, and that's
Hmm.
what makes them so sneaky.
Believable. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that makes sense. And the fact is like if they have a buyer, then what we can do is give them a call and have them bring their buyers through, and
Yeah,
you can still be represented. You actually lose nothing in that case. But if you have that other agent represent you also, where do you think their loyalty will lie? They've been representing that buyer and had the relationship with that buyer much longer.
that's correct.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
I
Yep.
agree. The other one, which is my favorite, is when they say that they're the top agent or the best of the, biggest agent in the area.
Right.
What do you
Yeah.
think about what do you say to that besides
Well,
laughing your ass off?
it's a little strange for me because in 2019 we finished number one in Alameda County. So if anybody says they're number one, I go, do tell.
Dude, yeah, like how so? In what?
How's that working out for you? Yeah. So that's a little bit funny, but we tell sellers, listen, if you really are hearing that and you really want to believe that, then ask for the numbers, verified numbers and
Yeah.
addresses of properties they sold, not their office. A lot of
Mhm.
times agents will walk in with, and this is kind of hard for rookies,
Yeah.
because a lot of them walk in with lists of properties sold by the office, and I get
Right.
that. But in this case, ask them for a list of properties they've sold, and go and check it out. You can go to Zillow and you can find out really, really quickly who sold the property.
I mean, there's a lot of resources that you can look.
Oh
But
yeah.
yeah, I agree with you. And part of like our pre-qualification that we ask is who else are you interviewing? And we'd like to bring a scorecard so that if that's part of their criteria, if they want somebody that has sold a lot of homes or sold a lot of homes in that area, like we'll produce a scorecard straight from the MLS. Who is
Right.
it? And oftentimes they'll let us know, and then we'll show them that we have been the best. And even if you're not like, you don't sell the most, you're
Mhm.
likely the best in something, but don't lie about it, right?
Right.
Right. Like
Yeah.
maybe your average days on market is better than the others, or maybe your list price to sale price is better than the others. Focus on the stat that, like you said, is verifiable and
Right.
accurate.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love it. I think for the other two, people can go read your article on inman.com, and I'll put a link here to it. And then also if they don't have Inman and they don't want to sign up for it, they can go to jennifermertlin.com/vault, and I'll put a copy of it in there. And if people have a referral for Fremont, or they have a question for you, want to get a hold of you, what's the best way?
Carl at medfordteam.com. Just Google Carl Medford. A few billion hits will come up almost immediately.
You're so famous.
Oh yeah, right. If only.
Do your articles come out every Wednesday, or how does it work?
Every Tuesday.
Every Tuesday? Awesome.
Every Tuesday on Inman, and I'm in 2 local Bay Area papers. I'm out every Wednesday. So yeah, Carl at medfordteam.com. And we cover the majority of the Bay Area. We also have an expansion team up in the Sacramento area. We've got one in Santa Cruz.
Nice.
So we cover a large territory.
That's awesome. Well, I really appreciate you being on. I'm sure we'll see you again. Thank you, Carl.
You're very, very welcome.